What is going on, YouTube? Welcome back to Fireside Rangers. I'm your host, Eric Wilson. Today, joined by my co-host, Colin Alcaves. And for the time being, Will Cohen. We'll see if his Wi-Fi lasts more than 2 minutes this time. Today, we're going to be giving a little bit of a preview of the upcoming season. Not really focused on the NHL, though, but a couple of the Rangers affiliates and some of the prospects in their system that we think might keep a closer eye on. We've got 3 prospects that we want to talk about today. 2 have a very realistic chance of making it to the NHL this season and at receiving some playing time up with the Rangers. One of the other ones, you might be able to see who he is on our graphic here today, probably won't make the NHL this season, but it's definitely someone you should keep a close eye on as we move forward. So we're going to dive right into today's discussion. But before we do, make sure you guys like, subscribe, ring that bell so you don't miss notification, leave your thoughts on these prospects down in that comment section below, and be sure to follow us on all of our social media platforms at Fireside Rangers. But before we really get into it, Will, I'll pass it off to you first since your time with us here might be limited. How are you doing today?
I'm doing very well, but
Colin, how are you doing today?
There's number one.
I'm good. I'm always fun talking about young Rangers and up-and-coming players, guys that might be the core of the future of this team. So I'm excited to jump right into it.
Good. I'm glad. So, Will, if you are still with us, I'm assuming you were going to say good, that you're doing fine. Who is this first prospect that you think fans might be looking to keep a close eye on this season?
It's obviously Brennan Othmann. He's one of the Rangers' top prospects. Was drafted 17th overall, I think it was. All the dates get mixed in my head. In 2021, last year in his first season with Hartford, he had 21 goals, 28 assists, 49 points in 67 games, and came up for a few with the Rangers. I can't remember if he scored. I think he might have had. He didn't have. He didn't have any points. I thought he might have had 1 assist. But obviously he's one of the Rangers' top prospects, probably number 2. And so obviously Ranger fans should be keeping a close eye on him because he should get more playing time with the club this year. Obviously he came up, I think it was 5 total games. He played in, got a cup of coffee, showed what he was worth, but now is the year where he'll probably be the first call up. I'm assuming if anyone gets hurt from here on out. So I think that's the first prospect that Ranger fans should keep a close eye on for this year.
I have to agree. He's our second best prospect. I think he's the most skilled and the most ready for the NHL. The only prospect I would rank higher than him is Gabriel Perreault. Just so much raw talent there, but we're not really going to be discussing him today, mainly because he is still going to be playing in college at BC. So he's got a little bit of ways to go before he's ready for the NHL. As far as Othmann goes, you are right, Will. He did play a few games with the Rangers last season, didn't put up any points, but I don't blame him. We had him playing on the 4th line, wasn't really set up to score very much, only for a few games. But I agree in the event that there is any sort of injury or anything happens where a player does need to be called up, especially in the forward core, it's going to be Brennan Othmann. Obviously, he's a natural left winger. Our left wing is a little bit full at the moment, but he did play on the right side a little bit last season, showed what he can do. So I'm confident that if he does get called up, he'll put on a good show, hopefully score his first NHL point and his first NHL goal this season. So I'm excited. Definitely one of those players where even when he's not playing with the Rangers, I'm still going to be keeping an eye on Hartford and how they're doing, just so I can see how Brennan Othmann is doing. But Colin, while we wait for Will to reboot here, how do you feel about Othmann this season?
I mean, he's an exciting young player coming into this season. Obviously, we got to see a taste of him last year. He got 3 games, wasn't a big stint, but he looked good in at least 2 of those. Obviously, they're not all going to be great off the rip. I think that he had an interesting season last year in Hartford. 49 points, 67 games. Yeah, I believe he was an all-star. He showed flashes of greatness, but it was very inconsistent. I'd like to see him kind of clean that up, those inconsistency issues. And make it kind of hard for us to keep him down in the AHL, similar to what it was like with Philip Hedl a couple of years ago, where he was just playing phenomenally, and it was like, we can't not have this guy on the team. I'm hoping that he could do something similar. Will mentioned it before, taking 16th overall in the first round in 2021. one of the better players of that draft so far. Obviously, there's still a lot to be seen, but he's got a lot of upside. He's got a great scoring touch. At 6 foot, 181. He's not a small kid either. For only 21 years old, he's still got he can grow into that a little bit more, pack on a few more pounds, just be an absolute menace out there. But he's not afraid to play a very physical game. He's very much like a Brad Marchand, where he's a total pest for other teams. He's not afraid to chirp and get under your skin, but he also can go out there and light you up on the score sheet as well. So I think he's a very intriguing prospect. But like I said, I'd just like to see him be a little bit more consistent before he gets the call up. But he is an exciting young player, and I'm excited to see if he does get called up, what he does with his opportunity.
Yeah, the last thing I'll add about Othmann is that I do think his defensive game is lacking a bit. That's the only concern I would have about putting him in a top 6 role in the event of a call up. Our top 6, very, very talented, but other than really the likes of Vincent Trocheck and sometimes Mika Zibanejad, if he feels like it, our forwards don't play that well defense. Like Panarin doesn't really do much. Kreider, he's fast, but sometimes he's not the greatest defensive forward. So there's a little bit of work to be done there, but hopefully with a little bit more development and a little bit more time, Othmann will be ready soon. So definitely keep an eye on him. But Will, I know there was one prospect you wanted to talk about, someone who's done quite well in a few of the Rangers prospects games recently. So why don't you introduce him and tell me why you're so excited?
Adam Edstrom, I can't say that. One of the 2 tallest players on the Rangers last year with Matt Rempe, came up, obviously had a pretty good impact with the team. Scored a few goals, had a few good plays, showed how strong he is on the forecheck. I mean, the guy can just bump into you and you're going to go flying into the boards. But what I'm so excited about is in the first 2 prospect game, or the only 2 prospect games against the Flyers, he had a shorthanded goal and 2 goals in the first game. And kind of shows his work he's had put in the offseason. I know that it's the prospect camp, you're going up against other prospects, so it really doesn't mean much. But to see him scoring goals and also playing on the PK and scoring shorthanded goals is pretty nice. And he's honestly not that bad of a skater. He's a pretty good skater for being, 6'5", 6'6". So he should definitely make an impact whenever he is inserted into the Rangers lineup, as he did last year. So that's someone that I would keep a very close eye on, not only down when he's down in Hartford, but when he's up with the Rangers as well, whenever that time may come.
Yeah, I remember there was a point late last season where we were having a debate about who should be in the lineup, possibly come playoff time. And a large portion of that debate came down between Rempe and Edstrom. And I think it might have been me or Colin, might have been you who made the point where it was like Edstrom is basically the same player as Rempe, except he knows how to skate and score. And then as soon as we said that, Rempe started scoring goals and then scored like the opening goal of the playoffs. We were like, I guess it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. But I don't know. At this point, watching him progress throughout the season, or off season, I should say, and now continuing to excel during the prospect games, take it with a grain of salt. They are prospect games. At this point, I might say it again. If I had to choose between Rempe and Edstrom, I might lean towards Edstrom solely because of the skating abilities and his a little bit more consistency in the scoring. For sometimes Rempe decides he wants to score a goal. Other times he's just going to get suspended for 10 games. But I don't know. If I had to choose, I'd probably still pick Edstrom. I think we will definitely see him receive some more NHL playing time this season. Very excited to watch him play, but I'll pass it off to Colin here to share how you feel.
I'll say Edstrom is just an absolute beast. 23 years old. He's 6'7", 240. He is a monster out there. I like his skating a lot. I definitely remember saying something of that when we were discussing whether it should be him or Rempe. I know Rempe has put in a lot of work in the offseason. We haven't really talked about it that much. But from what I'm hearing, he's been in the lab for more than just his fights, but working on a whole lot of stuff. But back to Edstrom, I love the fact that he's playing on the penalty kill and scoring shorthanded goals. It shows just from the coaching staff that they trust to put him in those scenarios, and that's big for me. It means they trust him defensively, and Will's gone entirely. Bye bye, Will.
I'll fix it. Don't worry.
But it
Fireside Giants. Am I right?
It goes to show that he has garnered a lot of trust from the coaching staff. Not to mention last year, in the AHL, he had 11 goals and 5 assists for 16 points in 40 games. Obviously, probably not playing on those top lines. He's just known for killing that time, and that's assuming he'd do the same thing in the NHL. On the fourth line, I liked what I saw from him. He's very quick for his size. He knows how to use his body to protect the puck, and he can win battles down low. And he's also just a guy who is not afraid to lay the body either. And that's kind of what you need on that fourth line, is just guys who you can trust to put out there, kill minutes, occasionally chip in here and there, but just wear down your opponents. And I think that he is a perfect example of a player like that. He's definitely somebody that I'm interested to see how they do. He's a center. Obviously, we have a lot of center depth now. Used to be a problem back in the day, but now we've kind of stocked up on centers a little bit, especially with the addition of Trocheck. We're a little bit thicker down the middle. So I'm interested to see if he plays center or if they move him to the wing, similar to how they did last year when they had Goudreau. But that remains to be seen if he makes a team, how Laviolette would employ him out there.
I'll have to admit, I did miss a good chunk of what you said after Will disconnected. I had to switch the graphics. If you saw the Fireside Giants one and you are a fan of the New York Giants, you can subscribe to them. Anthony, one of our other co-hosts here, is another co-host over there. So if you like football and the Giants, check out Fireside Giants. But yeah, so I did miss that. Will is texting me. He can't even get back into the recording. So it looks like it's going to be a duo from here on out. Let's start a petition for Will to get new Wi-Fi. And it started last year, didn't get enough signatures. So we're still dealing with the same old. But point is, I'm pretty sure I agree with what you said, because we've had this conversation many times, and you've always made valid points. So I want to ask you to repeat it for the sake of our fans who may still be watching. Let's test this theory again. If you're still watching today's episode, comment "Will is bananas." Okay, Will is bananas. So there's a common theme between all of these tests. All right, hold on a second. All right,
back.
So the last prospect we wanted to get into before Will loses his mind is someone who will probably not make the NHL this season, probably not for a few seasons. He's the Rangers' most recent first-round draft pick, went 30th overall in 2024, E.J. Emery. Now, there's not much we can say on him because he hasn't played in professional hockey yet. He's spent a lot of time down in the juniors. This upcoming season, he's going to be playing with the University of North Dakota in the NCAA. So to me, the reason why I wanted to put him on this list is just because he's our most recent draft pick. He's a very, very talented defensive prospect, and we know the Rangers don't have many defensive prospects to go around. We've got Robertson, but he might not be that good. Zach Jones, I don't really consider to be a prospect anymore either. So to me, if you're looking for a young, exciting defensive prospect to cheer for the Rangers, to me, it's E.J. Emery. Who doesn't love college hockey either? University of North Dakota. Maybe they'll make it to the Frozen Four, and we'll get to see him lift a college championship trophy. Who knows? So, like I said, don't have a lot of specifics, don't have a lot of stats. He's been a good player throughout his young career, and I'm excited to see how he progresses and grows. I don't know how much more you two can add to that, but if you have anything to say, I guess I'll start with Will. Welcome back.
Thank you. Because I almost broke something in my room because my Wi-Fi is horrible.
Well, in the time that you were gone, we started a petition to
Did I just
get you again? All right, Will, just stop talking. You get to listen for the rest of the episode. Colin, anything to say on Emery?
All right, that's fine.
He's another really good prospect. Obviously, extremely young, extremely raw. But just some numbers here. Now that I've pulled them up, on the 23-24 national U.S. national team, the development program, he had 16 points in 61 games. but I'm not really looking at him for his points, all assists, I might add. But I am looking at that plus minus. They drafted him to be kind of a shutdown guy, which is exactly what, as I mentioned in pretty much every episode recently, what the Rangers need is shutdown defense. And he is a plus 34. Now, that's extremely impressive, obviously, on the U.S. team. That's not the easiest thing to do at the age of 18. And then even in the World Juniors, he was a plus 15 with 6 points in 7 games. So even on bigger stages against tougher competition, he can still do it. As he progresses throughout his college career, that remains to be seen if he can maintain that level of excellence. But he's playing extremely, extremely well, high-level hockey, and keeping his opponents off the score sheet and being out there for a lot of goals. Even if he doesn't contribute directly in the points, just being out there and moving that puck up and getting in the zone and maintaining that pressure is massive. And he seems to be doing a really, really good job at that. So he is also, I keep saying this, just an absolute animal. 6'3", 185. A lot of the NHL defensemen in today's game are like over 6'1", 6'2" is like the average height. I believe, don't quote me on that, but they have to be decent size so that you can win those battles up in front. And I think that at age 18, he's not even done growing yet. Is the craziest thing. He still can get bigger. So I definitely think he's an exciting player to keep an eye on as he works his way through the NCAA with the University of North Dakota, and seeing how he does playing against guys who are up for the Hobie Baker and things like that.
Indubitably. Will did provide his thoughts here in our private chat. He said he's a big shutdown defenseman. He won't score you many points, but he makes up for it with his superb play in his own zone. And he said he models his game after Keandre Miller. So, Will, thank you for the contribution. I'm happy I was able to be your voice. So that pretty much wraps up today's episode. We talked about 3 prospects to keep an eye on this season, 2 of which will probably see some NHL playing time. Emery, obviously not this season, but definitely sometime soon in the future. He's a very promising prospect that you should definitely be watching. As once again, if you would like to see an episode that's just 100% normal, sign the petition to get Will a new Wi-Fi router. Other than that, if you did enjoy, please like, subscribe, ring that bell to miss notification. Leave your thoughts down in the comment section below. Once again, comment Will is bananas. Lastly, be sure to follow us on all of our social media platforms at Fireside Rangers. Have a good one. We'll be back soon. Let's go Rangers.